Okay, g'day everyone. Just today we're going to talk a little bit about the swing path and how it can help you reduce some of the curve of your shots, hit the ball a little bit straighter, and also how you can use it when you want to curve the ball to get a result from when you're perhaps in trouble and you need to recover. So the swing path, why it's important, we generally want a neutral swing path which would be slightly from the inside coming into the ball and then slightly back to the inside. Problem is for most of us, when the ball's curving too much, it means that your swing path is too much in one direction or the other in relation to where the club face is pointing. So if the club face is pointing at the target, when you strike the ball and the swing path is going across to the left, you'll hit a slice. If the club face is pointing at the target and the swing path is going too much to the right or further to the right than the club face, you'll hit a hook or a draw. So, but one of the good ways to work on your swing path is to practice the opposite shot. So if we're hitting slices, we're going to practice hitting some hooks. If you're hitting hooks, we're going to practice hitting some slices. And it'll help you bring you back a little bit closer to neutral. When Jack Nicklaus was playing in his best golf, winning lots of majors, he often practiced, he was a left to right player generally as his stock shot, but he would often practice after every 3 or 4 shots on the range, he would hit a draw just to make sure he didn't go too far in that one direction. And then when he got ready to play in the US Masters at Augusta, which suited a right to left tee shot, he used to practice a lot of draws at that particular time, but would always incorporate some fades into that process so that he didn't overdo the shots. Okay, so one of the simple little drill we can do is just set up here a couple of water bottles on the ground, and the idea is that if we were slicing the ball and we had a ball in here, we'll do it without a ball first, but if we were slicing the ball, we would generally be having too much rotation from the top, club coming outside the path, and we'd crash into this bottle on the way down. If we miss that bottle, we may still hit this one on the way through. So this is just a visual guide, but we want, starting with a few little swings, just making some swings when we come inside the bottle and make the swing path go a little bit out to the right. Now, as I said, we do want an in-to-in swing path, but as you have to exaggerate things to make changes. If we just try and say, okay, I'm going to practice in-to-in and fix my slice, you're probably not going to do it enough. So even though you might feel like you're going well out to the right, the reality is you won't, it'll take you a lot to change that. So if we put a ball in here, now when you're coming down, once you've practiced a bit and you're getting used to the in-to-in, the inside out swing path, one of the things you might want to key on is from the top of the backswing, as the club may need to just drop a little bit behind you, your lead wrist may just bow a little bit, which helps to close the club face. Now when we're coming down into the ball, we want the club behind our hands, club face pointing down a little bit. That will give us our inside out swing path with a club face that matches to give us a little bit of a draw shot. So once we're going, we'll try and hit a bit of a draw here. So we're keying there to start the ball out to the right. Hopefully we'll get the ball to curve back. Now if we, obviously on the other side of the equation, we've got a fade shot. So we're going to reverse these bottles. We're going to put this one over here. This one here. Got the one at the back a little bit lower so that we can still practice a proper takeaway. But the idea on the way down is we want to get the feeling now that we're coming a little bit more out in front. Now one of the differences on the way down for the people that are hooking too much is you'll find that your right shoulder gets too low, you potentially get too much hip slide towards the target, and that drops the club in behind too much. So for someone who's hooking the ball, get the club in here, hands get very active, and I overtake the club head and we get a rolling of the club face, which will produce too much draw. So for those players, we want to feel from the top of the backswing that we let our left shoulder stay low and keep our left hip centralized, not sliding too much. And then as we get down to this halfway down position, our spine will be very neutral. We don't want to have a spine too far behind the ball and a left shoulder too high at this point. From there we'll continue to rotate through. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to try to minimize the hand action. We're going to try and rotate through more with the body, keeping the face a little bit squarer. So again, we practice without a ball first, getting used to exaggerating that feel of coming more on top of the ball, more across the ball, and then once we get a ball in there, get used to, we'll move these a little bit tighter, but we'll get used to swinging left and through the shot. That ball probably didn't start far enough left, so that would be the next part for me is to keep working on getting the ball starting left. Now, one of the advantages of working on the opposite shot is you may not ever use the shots very often, and you may not want to reduce your curve. We're just trying to reduce the curve a little bit so it's more controllable. But one advantage that you're going to find is there are times on the course where you need to curve the ball. For example, on the 8th hole at Riversdale, you hit a good drive down the right-hand side and you're about 150 metres from the green, but you're blocked out by the trees. So if you know how to slice the ball now, you can set up with a club there, take the club a little bit more outside, come across the shot, and you may be able to get the ball down to the green instead of having to just chip it out sideways, or potentially just try and hit it through the tree. So that would give you a shot on the course. On the other side of the coin, when you're playing the 13th hole at Riversdale, you've hit it down the left-hand side of the fairway, away from the fairway bunkers, but now you're blocked out a little bit from going directly down the fairway. It's either a chip out, which is going to leave you about 200 metres from the green, but if you have the ability to curve the ball around, even with a 7-iron, you'll be able to get over the hill and down the bottom and maybe have a pitching wedge into the green. So just having the ability to curve the ball will not only help you hit the ball straighter, but it will also give you some chances to recover when you're in trouble. So I hope those tips help a little bit, and we'll look forward to seeing you back at Riversdale very soon.